As you guys already know, we are on a mission to get to 20,000 subscribers, and we could really use your support. As you can see here, about 55% of you watching this video right now are not subscribed to the channel. If you love content like this and you enjoy daily Knick updates, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button because it really does support all the great content that we're creating for you. It was the playoff rematch that we've all been waiting for. The Knicks versus the 76ers. Only there was one difference here. Even though the Sixers are injured right now, they were getting back one returning player, an MVP player. We're talking about Joel Embiid. So the matchup before the game even started that everybody was talking about was Karl-Anthony Towns against Joel Embiid. And if you watched the game like I did, you already know the result. Karl-Anthony Towns cooked Joel Embiid all night long. Embiid came back and he was embarrassed. He looked gassed. And this Knicks team took full advantage of it. We're going to break down exactly what happened in tonight's game, who went off in tonight's game, who we need to take another look at on the team, and also the rotations that Tom Thibodeau put out there, because the days of the six-man rotation seem to be gone. We're going to talk about all of this and so much more today. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button now. And make sure you have notifications turned on so you don't miss a second of the new content. And now, let's get started. The Knicks defeat the 76ers and ruin Joel Embiid's debut. If there's one thing that's going to put a smile to my face each and every single time, it's going to be Joel Embiid being gassed, being embarrassed, sitting on the bench and thinking to himself, this is the 76ers team I'm coming back to. Yes, Joel, that's the team you're coming back to. And the teams you're going up against have gotten a little bit better because now the five that plays for the Knicks, he actually can shoot the three. And he shoots it so well that you have to go out and you have to guard him. One thing was clear. In the first quarter, when Joel Embiid got pulled, he was gassed. He was tired. Karl-Anthony Towns made him work all game long. He hit a couple of threes. That made him have to defend him outside. And then when he knew he had him outside, he drove inside, took it to the paint, got contact at times, sometimes didn't get a call, but that's okay. Still made the basket go in, and he abused the matchup for Joel Embiid. I don't care what you want to say. You want to say Joel Embiid showed up? You want to say he just came back from an injury or coming back from rehab? It doesn't matter to me. We don't care what you're dealing with. We're going to take advantage, and we're going to make sure we win the game. And that's exactly what the Knicks did. On a night where Jalen Brunson struggled a lot, he still couldn't find the shot for most of that game. But it didn't matter because it didn't involve Jalen Brunson winning this game tonight. You know what it took? A team effort. And even though Karl-Anthony Towns did his thing, and we're going to talk about him, can you believe those were not the most impactful players for what the Knicks accomplished tonight? We're going to get into exactly who those players were, but we have to look at the final score to put a smile on my face. Shout out to SNY for giving us the following. And if you guys didn't know, maybe you guys care about it. Tonight was the Knicks' first game of the in-season tournament NBA Cup. And guess what? We took the victory against the 76ers. The Knicks winning this game 111-99. We did not allow the 76ers to score 100, and I'm so happy about that. Again, shout out to James L. Edwards of The Athletic for giving us the final information here. Not a pretty game from New York. He's talking about the defense early, which I can agree with him. The defense early from New York was not great. We tried to do a lot, tried to match the 76ers a little bit too much, in my opinion, and that didn't go well for New York early on. But they played their best basketball as the game went on, and that's true, which really hasn't been the case at times with the Knicks throughout the season. Every starter scored at least 14 points, with Anunoby scoring 24 and Karl-Anthony Towns scoring 21. Deuce McBride off the bench with 15. And now the Knicks stand at the record of 5-5 for the season. That's right, guys. We are back at 500. Cat was definitely taking advantage early against Embiid. Embiid looked gas early on, and I think he expected his first game back to be a lot easier, but Towns was just aggressive, and he made it hard on him. It's the fact that the Knicks, early on, where their defense is shaky, they normally don't finish their defense well. It normally is a problem throughout the entire game. The first quarter, the defense, I mean, the 76ers and the Knicks were very close in the score, and that's because they were getting whatever they wanted inside the paint. Paul George really was scoring at will sometimes in this game. Second quarter, you saw that in the beginning, but one thing you also saw was the Knicks defense continue to get better throughout the course of the game. We didn't see that before heavily. We saw it now. Up to the third quarter, when the 76ers could not buy a basket inside the paint, and their three-point percentage, whether it's by the Knicks or whether it's by them just missing open threes. And by the way, it's a combination of both. Knicks really didn't guard the three that well tonight, but the 76ers didn't really shoot the three that well tonight. So it kind of worked out into the Knicks' favor, and we ended up winning the game anyways. But it is something to still look at because you don't want to allow a team like the 76ers to gain confidence. And if they hit those threes openly, they would have gotten that. Thankfully, it didn't work out like that for the Knicks. But we have to talk about two players tonight. We can talk about Towns, we will. We can talk about Brunson. Trust me, we will. But there's two players that helped us win this game tonight. Two players that deserve the shine before we go into the team stats, the shot chart, all of these things. And I think you guys know who I'm talking about if you watched tonight's game. You got to give them a round of applause. I cannot believe the impact they had. You know who I'm talking about. OG Anunoby and Josh Hart. My goodness. What if you're talking about monster games? OG Anunoby is a demon. Anunoby is a demon. And Josh Hart, whatever monster you want to call him, go ahead. I don't know who these players are, but this was phenomenal play from both of these guys tonight. Let's look at these guys tonight against Philly. 111-99. Against Philly, Josh Hart gives you 14, 12, and 10. Now, he might have not gotten that triple-double, but they credited Josh Hart with an assist late in that game, and he was able to get to the triple-double. Do I care? No. I'm sure if you bet on the game tonight and you bet on Hart getting that triple-double, you are happy as heck right now. And why wouldn't you be? Because it's something that you expected. I've said it a number of post games now, and I'll say it again. Josh Hart is a threat for a triple-double each and every night because he does everything that would warrant him to get a triple-double. He passes the ball very well. Great playmaker. Second chance opportunities. The reason that the Knicks win the rebounding war almost every night is not solely due to Karl-Anthony Towns. Josh Hart is a main reason why. And another thing, the way he scores inside, picks his shot. And I know I still hate the hezzy from the baseline, and I hate the hezzy from the three-point line because everybody knows it's coming. But you know what? If he's going to cut inside and get the basket anyways, why am I going to care? Josh Hart, amazing game tonight. Read the defense extremely well. Passed the ball, was playing in flow, never forced a thing. Josh Hart, just incredible. Anybody who's saying Josh Hart should go to the bench, watch this game again. This is why Josh Hart cannot afford to go to the bench. He does too much with the starting unit for us to sacrifice him going to the bench. I understand wanting to play another big next to Karl-Anthony Towns. We'll get there. But Josh Hart tonight proves why he needs to start and proves why at any given night he is a threat for a triple-double. What other player on the floor for the Knicks is capable of saying that? No one. Just Josh Hart. Shout out to him. It was amazing to see. But another amazing person to see was OG Anunoby. I mean, 24 points, 11 of 16 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3, 6 rebounds, 1 steal, 1 block, 0 turnovers, a game best 18 plus. 18 plus. You want to know why it's an 18 plus? You guys could probably count it. How many times did OG cut underneath the basket? Cut to the basket. The Knicks found them underneath the basket, either for an easy layup or a dunk. I'm counting maybe 6 times. I don't know if that's a career high for OG Anunoby, but the aggression on offense, the amazing defense that he plays, and I know if you're talking about the defense that he played tonight against Paul George did go off a little bit. I'm not going to take that away. Not going to deny that. Paul George did his thing. It's hard to contain a player like that who's so good, so motivated, and wants to be good. Anunoby held him in check a lot of times. He defended him well a lot of times, but sometimes it was just better offense. We hear that a lot. With Anunoby, the same thing applies. It's not to say that he didn't play good defense. He still did. It's still elite. The Knicks still look better when he's on the floor defensively. But the aggression offensively has been one of the best things we've seen all season long. I mean, with OG Anunoby attacking the way he does, doing what he's doing underneath and inside, his aggression underneath, when he's attacking, when he's shooting the three, faking the three, driving baseline and cutting and hitting that dunk anyways. He has so many different things underneath his bag that he gets from playing with this roster. It is amazing to see. For me, if I had to cut the game ball in half, I'm giving half of it to Josh Hart and the other half to OG Anunoby. They were just so impressive tonight, not only on defense, but just the offense, the way they played. They never forced anything. They don't force a thing. They play within the flow of the offense. That's why you love to play with players like that, because they're never going to complain if they don't get the ball. And when they do get the ball, they'll make something out of it. One thing I noticed with Tom Thibodeau tonight is that, did you guys notice in the second quarter when Jalen was taken out and he put Karl-Anthony Towns in, when Jalen was coming back in that second quarter, he took out Towns and he put in Jalen Brunson and Jericho Sims. Now, I wouldn't have said anything about it, but then he did it again. I think it was either in the third or in the fourth, whatever Brunson returned from that injury. I think it was the third. Might have been the fourth, though. When Brunson returned, though, you notice that Karl-Anthony Towns went back to the bench and Jalen Brunson and Jericho Sims went inside and went on the court. Now, in my head, there's a reason the Knicks did this. I think the Knicks did this because they already understand Brunson and Cat both on the floor are both defensive liabilities. And you don't want to have both defensive liabilities on the floor at the exact same time. So what do? You split them up. You play them together, obviously. Maybe you close out games with them. You start games with them. But in the second quarter, in the third quarter, maybe you switch it up a little bit. That way you allow other players to eat alongside of Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns. You get Cat to eat. You get Mikal to eat. OG to eat. Josh Hart to eat. And then when Brunson comes in, you get Brunson to eat. McBride to eat. All these other players to eat. So I think that's what Tom Thibodeau was experimenting with today. And you know what? I got to say, I didn't hate it. I actually didn't hate it. But obviously, we're going to go into the team stats as well, too, because this is something to look at. I always look at this because it tells you where the Knicks did well, where they still need to do well, and obviously where they dominated. And if you can see right away, I mean, the number one thing that jumps off the page to me, guys, it's points in the paint. Knicks 54 to the 76ers 30. 54 to 30. I'm sorry. If you're getting beat in the paint by 20 plus, you're likely going to lose the game. You want to know how I know that? Because if you flip that with Indiana or with Houston, that's how it looked like. The Knicks were getting dominated inside the paint, and the Knicks can't afford to do that. Here's the other part, though. The assist number, 31 to 19 for New York. I mean, last game, we had 23. 23 total for the entire game. At halftime, I think we had 18. That's the difference. We're moving the ball. We're moving ourselves, and that's helping everybody else get involved. People are moving because they know they're going to get the ball. That's why you move. As you can see, we're talking about the rebounds here as well. Knicks won the rebounding war 47 to 40. In terms of offensive rebounds, though, it's something to notice. Knicks lost that 8 to 9. So it is something to note because, I mean, the 76ers don't really have anybody to jump at the ball. So the fact that the Knicks didn't even have anybody like that getting more rebounds on the offensive side is something to look at. Free throw percentage. I mean, that's why the game was so close early on, because the Knicks could not even get to the line. I don't know if you guys looked, but I think at halftime, the Knicks only got to the line, I think, maybe it was the third quarter, 2 times, 4 times, and the 76ers conversely, 20 points. 20 points converted at the line. That was the entire game. Imagine if we didn't foul them and they never got to the line. We probably would have blew out the 76ers by halftime. We let them get to the line, and that's something important to understand. Our interior defense is still a problem because even though they didn't score a lot of points in the paint, they felt comfortable enough to drive in the paint to try to get contact to go to the line, and they were able to get to the line a lot, way more than the Knicks. But there's a reason why that happened, though. If you look at the percentages here, I mean, the 76ers shot 37% from the field. Conversely, the Knicks shot 49% from the field. Guys, they shot 49% from the field in New York. If New York is shooting 49% from the field, they're likely going to win the game. Here's the thing, though. The Knicks were shooting 49% from the field, but because of their defense, and it wasn't looking that great, into halftime, we only had a 4-point lead because our three-point shots were not going in, and the 76ers three-point shots were not going in, even though we gave them a lot of open looks. So that was something that could have killed us, but it didn't. So I'm thankful for that, but it is something to understand that the Knicks were great on offense, but we still were only leading by a few points because of how poor our defense is. And even though Jalen Brunson did not have the best game, I know he's struggling offensively, I'm not worried about Brunson. Brunson's offensive game will come. He was doing everything else. He was playing the passing lane. He was getting involved in terms of the defense. He was making sure that when he was on the floor and his shot wasn't going in, he was doing the right thing by attacking the rim. And every time he attacked, good things happened. So I appreciated that. He was finding other people as well, too. He had a very good game. But Karl-Anthony Towns, I mean, on the night, 38 minutes, 13 rebounds, 6 assists, 21 points. And a lot of those assists, ladies and gentlemen, were very, very good. He had a sweet assist to OG Anunoby inside the paint when he was drawing two defenders at the top of the key. He had another great assist to Mikal Bridges in that fourth quarter, right above his head, like nobody saw him. Even when Mikal caught the ball and he put it in, he's looked at the ball for a couple of seconds and said, oh my God, did that just happen? He couldn't believe it happened because he couldn't believe that Towns could pass like that. I was so excited to see what I saw from Towns tonight, what he was able to do on that court against Embiid, not only offensively, but defensively as well, too. I thought he worried Joel Embiid a lot. He made him rush his shots a lot. And I'm not saying it was every possession. He still has work to do. But I mean, for what we saw tonight, I think Karl-Anthony Towns deserves a lot of praise in terms of his offense and what he's trying to do on defense. We still need to work together as a team to get better there. But Towns, you got to appreciate everything he did against Joel Embiid, what he did for this Knicks team. And we don't win this game with Karl-Anthony Towns not playing like this. If Towns doesn't give you that level of aggression, especially against a returning Joel Embiid, we likely don't win because Jalen Brunson didn't have it tonight. As you can see here, we have the Knicks and their shot chart on the left-hand side, 76ers on the right-hand side. 76ers missed a ton of shots. I mean, look at the amount of empty circles they have. I mean, this is ridiculous. They tried to shoot from everywhere on the perimeter. I'm talking about everywhere. They never stopped trying to shoot. The only difference tonight is they missed a ton of them. Look at that. They couldn't hit anything. And then they tried to go into the paint afterwards, but nothing happened. I love to see that the Knicks understood if something is not working to do something else. They were doing that, although I felt like they still are not creating enough threes, guys. I feel like the Knicks still have the ability with the team that they have to generate more threes, but you have to create those threes. The only way to do that is to get deep inside the paint, create that deep paint penetration. 49%, 49.4% for the offense tonight for the Knicks. Their offense is fine, and it's not even as good as it can be. It might be 60% when everything is said and done. That's how good the Knicks offense could be. If they can just give you a little bit more defense, just a little bit more paint defense, a little bit more perimeter defense, we would be so good. We would be one of the best teams in the league. But I guess with every team, you just can't have everything, at least not right away. It's something to build on. It's something that the Knicks will continue to build on, and I know that they will, and I can't wait to see it. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below, and of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knicks fans, take care of yourself, your families, and each other. Peace and love.